Did you know over 60% of first-time clients do not return for a second visit? That is so painful, but it doesn't have to be that way. That's where Maya comes in. Maya is the ultimate marketing software for the beauty and wellness industry. We have a proprietary funnel utilizing special algorithms to help connect the right consumers with the right providers at your business. This means that Maya helps you get higher spending clients you love to work with who stay the long haul. If you want to increase your revenue, increase your client count, increase your average ticket, and increase your new client retention, then you need Maya. Go to joinmaya.com to set up your own personal virtual tour and see why over 500,000 consumers have trusted Maya and the businesses we work with to find their perfect beauty and wellness pro. We promise you will love Maya.
Thank you for joining me. This is Kati Whitledge with the Beyond the Technique podcast. It's Thursday, which means you and I are together for a short podcast episode. Today, we're diving into the topic, eliminate distractions. Why? Well, distractions don't just waste your time. They also suck your energy, your creativity, your ability to make decisions effectively. This is a real life suck sometimes, but we're distracted a lot. In fact, the average person makes, are you ready for this? 35,000 decisions per day. That's insane. If you're like me, you might have a little ADHD, and I will tell you, I even take a biohacking supplement for this purpose of helping me focus. And I don't know if you remember this, but at the beginning of this year, my word of the year was, and it still is, focus. Well, in order to focus, you got to eliminate distractions. And by doing that, it'll help us reduce decision fatigue, lower feeling overwhelmed. If you're like me, you might sign up for a lot in life because you're creative and want to be a part of a lot. You enjoy a lot of different things. Many beauty industry professionals are like that, but that can cause you to feel all of a sudden overwhelmed. Even if you've done it to yourself, it doesn't change the fact that you might have feelings of overwhelm. Hopefully today will help you eliminate some of that or prevent it in the future. And by eliminating distractions, you will increase productivity, your ability to focus, which ultimately gives you more peace of mind. So not only are we making 35,000 decisions per day, but studies show that our willpower and focus diminish after repeated decisions. If you're in a marriage or relationship, do you ever say to your spouse, like, I don't know, you decide? Do you ever get upset and be like, you just decide? No, I don't want to. Like, sometimes you feel like you're just over it. I don't want to have to make one more decision today. Some of this you're doing to yourself, some of it's happening to you. And I want to help you with both so that you can overcome those frustrations. Because ultimately, decision fatigue leads to poor choices, procrastination, and stress, unnecessary stress. So, as a salon owner or a leader of a salon, are you fielding constant questions, interruptions, micro decisions you have to make that just chip away at your energy, your effectiveness to lead, and even your ability to be creative and problem solving? And though most of our responsibility is HR related, it's people related, it is also problem solving. There are still ways to mitigate just the traffic, like the amount of traffic you're getting to yourself. And how do you effectively manage those impulsive or impromptu things that just come up every single day? Well, you're like, where did the day go? I had this and this and this is my goal, but I didn't get to all of them because all these things ended up happening. I actually get really frustrated when I talk to other leaders because they're allowing those other things to take precedence. They're paying attention to things. So it's on you to complete the things you meant to focus on and silence all other noise unless it's an emergency. Like I even tell the neighborhood kids, do not ring my doorbell unless somebody is very injured and this is urgent. Otherwise, just because, like if I'm home, like I could be working, I could be on a Zoom, I could have our daughter as nap time. So it's funny how I tend to be sometimes a little more bold in those boundaries than you might be. But I want to give you that just encouragement that you can be bold and set some of these boundaries. So, first off, to eliminate distractions, the number one thing you are responsible for, because look at nobody's coming to rescue you. You have to set this up for yourself. So, you need to take a good look at your life and how can you automate your own life. I mean, we think about automating things in our salon. How can we automate our actual personal lives to have less decision fatigue and overwhelm? So, one of the things I do is I literally eat pretty much the same things every single day. That not it was not the case before. I would be easily swayed if we were in the moment. Well, let's just go out to eat here, or when we're out to eat, it was like, maybe I'll pick something fun tonight that I don't normally have and treat myself. Those days are gone, and thank goodness they are because I'm over 100 pounds lighter than I used to be. And I think I used to just allow life to happen instead of being in control of those areas. So, like, for example, when I go out to eat, I pre decide based on where I'm going, what I'm going to have. If I don't know and I happen to be at a restaurant, I already know I'm going to have salmon or steak, period. Side of veggies, like keep it in control. So some people are saying, wow, that's like insane. But to me, it's freedom. I've never been more locked in to my own or dialed into my own routine and healthy habits. And it's just automated. It just is the life now. And I don't really feel like I'm missing out. I don't have FOMO in that area. How could you automate your food routine or your prep routine? So I often say, people have their morning rituals. You've heard of that? I have my nighttime rituals. What I do the night before, this is the big epiphany. What I do the night before is what sets me up for success and great sex, hopefully. Success the next day. So every single night, I prep my workout outfit, my coffee, my pre-workout with creatine drink, my water bottle with my electrolytes in it, all my supplements. I get everything set out, ready to go. Boom, 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 boom. That way, I don't have to think about it. And it's funny, I'm down to even like my shoes. If it's leg day, I wear these certain black shoes. If it's not leg day, I wear these other. It's like so funny. Just everything is ready to rock and roll the night before. And that becomes a habit. What areas could you automate? What routines? Even with the kids, like, okay, I'm going to do this, this, and this because tonight's soccer or tonight's football or tonight's dance lessons. And so that means these all things need to happen in this order. And that's the same. Every Wednesday we do this. So every Wednesday, this is our routine. So taking a look of that, it just helps you remove daily guesswork because I promise you having to make constant decisions is utterly exhausting. Even wardrobe. Now, I don't do this. This is one area I haven't mastered. Maybe with my workout, sort of. But do you remember Steve Jobs, head of Apple? Of course, he's brilliant, right? We all know for the most part who Steve Jobs was. He traditionally always wore these black t-shirts and jeans. And he did that so it was just automatic and he didn't have to put thought into that one thing every single day. Some people do this with their wardrobes. I'll tell you, once per month, I help with worship, the music at our church. And that's if I do not pick out my outfit the night before, the morning of, I'm sitting in my closet like, I don't know what to wear. even though I have every option under the sun. It's ridiculous. And I bet you and I are a lot like that because we're creatives. We're in the beauty world. We love fashion. We love spicing it up sometimes. So that could be an area for you. Like, how can I have this and this and this as what I do for work or what I do for this area of my life? Just so it makes your life a lot easier. Fewer trivial choices. That's the goal. And then at the salon, having repeated checklists. We do this with our salon operations, appointments, and inventory. If you're not already automating a lot with your salon point of sale, if things aren't offered to you that are automated, push for that. Seek that out because that will help eliminate some of those tedious tasks throughout the day at your salon that could help you reduce distractions and decision fatigue. How to defer impromptu decisions. So, this is where you have a stylist come up and say, I know that our retail commission structure is set on this amount of volume, but that's for full time team members and I'm part time. Could we revise this for part time team members? What do we do when that happens? Well, typically, we want to come to the rescue, right? Any salon owner or leader who hears that feedback, automatically your knee jerk reaction is, how do I rescue? How do I solve? And how do I make you happy, feel seen, and heard? The problem with some of that is it is going to take away from what you are meant to focus on today. So here's my pro tip for this particular scenario is to say, thank you for sharing this perspective. That is interesting. We're going to add that to our calendar so that at our next quarterly leaders meeting, we address this. Now, some of you know that we use this really cool app called Asana, and it helps us manage our lives. It is a task management system, project manager. It is so robust. It's another level up from Slack. Slack is a level up from text threads, right? The next level up from Slack would be Asana, and everything in our lives is there. We use it for our tech company. We use it for our salons. And we have a board in that platform where we manage what's called 2026 topics to discuss, meaning you can let your team know when they come up with their next big or bright idea that it's really interesting. Now, I try to prevent myself from saying, oh, okay, well, we'll talk about it, because that sounds like you're crapping on what they just said. I also don't want you to hype it up. And I actually struggle with this. My team will tell you I tend to get so hyped up in the moment emotionally, like, yeah, let's rock and roll. And then later I'm like, oh, now that I've given it some thought, and that gets everybody else's hopes up all around me, and then they're disappointed. So don't overhype it. That's why I use the word interesting. Wow, that's a really interesting thought. Thank you for sharing that. Let's put this on our 2026 topics to discuss. Our next meeting is in November. So you're going to start training your team. Now, you could say we meet about this weekly, we meet about this monthly, we meet about this quarterly. I think twice per year to have a big meeting where you go down the line of all these ideas that flooded in, and then you take it one by one with your upper inner circle of leaders. So that's only going to be maybe 2 to 5 people that are going to be in this room twice per year. So what I would recommend is June. June still addresses what's going on this current year. And then another one for November. November would address things that we would implement in the new year. One example that we always put on this board would be our employee handbook. What was applicable a year ago might have evolved since then. So that's where we always kind of do an annual employee handbook audit. But we don't need to look at that, every single month. We look at that in November leading into the next year. And when you get in this behavior, then your team's going to know. By the way, what's nice about it is whatever you are emotionally charged by, you might find that falls off by the time you actually sit down. So maybe 12 things were listed for you to discuss in November. And once you sit down for it, you're like, oh, nobody cares about that anymore. Yeah, that's not a thing. We don't have to talk about. And it goes from 12 to maybe 7 things that you actually do discuss and carve out that time for. And that could be like a half day session. It's intense. And then you eliminate your distractions. You focus just on those things. But by having that structure in place, the team then knows that you do take these things seriously and to heart. You're just very intentional about when you plan to go over those things. And then just again, don't hype it up. That's why I say that's interesting. We'll put it on this calendar to talk through it as leaders. Whew, how do you feel about that? Okay. Then you need to master your tech boundaries. This is for your own personal life again. Do you ever put your phone on do not disturb? I used to never do that. I'm saying that joking, like, but I never did that before. And now I do that. I do that because I know, let's say I didn't do that forever during my workouts. Well, if you're weightlifting, I love to do bodybuilding, then you do have time in between your sets. And I would go and check emails or check messages or, oh, all of a sudden, a workout that should take you an hour, and some of you are like, an hour, let's just say, might take you now an hour and a half because you stalled and weren't focused. Well, imagine that that's translating into your entire day. Your entire day, you're like, oh, I got to look at this email. So here's what I recommend. Put your phone on do not disturb during really important focus work times. In the tech world, that might be called work sprints or just your creative time. Like, you know yourself really well. When do you have the most energy and your mind is like, yeah, yeah, yeah? It could be the morning. It could be in the evening after the kids go to bed or after work or who knows. But optimize what you naturally feel is your creative time and shut off your phone. Do not disturb. And then messages that come through. So you're going to have messages that come through those apps like Slack or Asana or emails or text. Now, I'm not talking about customer. I'm texting you because I want to book an appointment. That takes precedence because butts in the seats, right? But no pun intended. When you are talking about your emails to communicate back with vendors or other related things that are not super urgent and important, like getting somebody in today for an opening, those I'd recommend twice per day. So having your like on the calendar time frame. By the way, stylists have calendars. We're booking things into their schedule. I recommend that you do that as well. And even consider what's called like block scheduling. So, for example, with the podcast, I try to just record the podcast on certain days and times and get guests into those times because that's when I go hard on just podcasting. Okay. So I'm not like, oh, here's my whole week, pick a time, and then I'll have a little bit of time to work on writing the next book or working on the roadmap for our software company. Like, no, you need a whole different schedule. And so maybe on your schedule every morning from 9 to 9:30 a.m., that's when you check your emails, and then you check them again from 4 to 4:30 p.m. and that's it. And you just sit down and it's the only thing. Everything else is cut off from your attention and you just go hard on those communications. To help you also effectively cut off distractions from a technical perspective is go into your phone. I never used to do this either. It's been really honestly life-changing in the sense that I don't feel as stressed out. I turn off notifications on everything. There is no reason that I need to see when somebody's DM'd me or left a comment on a Instagram post. I eventually will see it once per day, minimally. I will see that. But I don't need to go in every single time somebody comments. I don't need to immediately go and reply. That is where we get super thrown off. And imagine how much time you'd get back in your day if you were more intentional and productive. But it will take some willpower. It will take just the decision, just making the decision up front. I'm going to turn off all the notifications on my app, and I'm going to have set times per day that I address communications or my social media platforms. If we think that our kids should have limited access to screen time, don't you think that's good advice for us as well? Are we exempt from what that is doing to us with dopamine? I mean, I know if I'm on something for too long, I all of a sudden get kind of a shisty mood or less, or I actually just feel tired. Where I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel drained. I don't have the energy to go out and do much for life. It's like, get out for a walk, breathe some fresh air, and turn that off. Okay. Eliminating distractions. We're going to automate, we're going to defer, and we're going to control our tech. This is about protecting you, your time, your focus, your energy. And you're doing it so that you can give your very, very best to what matters most. So I just want to encourage you. What is just one tip from today, one takeaway, one distraction that you can go and eliminate right now so that you can show up as the best version, most energetic, creative version of yourself? I hope that you love today's conversation. If you do, please take a moment to leave us a 5-star review wherever you're listening so that more people like you will discover Beyond the Technique, where we're here to change the way that you're supported in your business and your life. Have an awesome day and stay strong.